Hello and welcome to Nuclear Reactor, and today we'll be reacting to the last part up to now of What If Gine Went to Earth with Goku. It's a little sad that Roy caught up, but at the same time kind of relieving, because I'm doing just, at the time, like 5 different DBZ what ifs. And then another one I want to do is what if what if Goku went to Beerus's planet instead of Yardrat? That's a reaction. Goku 45T, or I'm trying to remember. I can't remember the name of the channel offhand, but it looks like an interesting what if. So I just wanted to react to that, but I've got to get some of these others out of the way and caught up with. And also, if y'all can do me a favor, because sometimes I don't get his notifications and stuff. My phone messes up. If y'all can let me know when he drops the next What If Gine Went to Earth with Goku, just in case, that would be very helpful so I can get that out for y'all. And I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Things will be okay. It's just a matter of time. Of hypertonic lion tamers. Hey guys, MasakoX here.
Okay, yeah. Last time they were going into the hyperbolic time chamber, Gine and Raditz, that's right. Wasn't it just, it was just Gine and Raditz, right? Yeah. After she almost got herself drained out by the other cell, or by imperfect cell. Is it imperfect or is it? Because it's not perfect. No, when he absorbed Android 17, then he became Imperfect Cell. Well, whatever cell was called before Imperfect Cell. But, okay, let's get on with this.
After a quick smattering of Gine back in the summer, I decided to give the story a little...
Oh, I wanted to ask, do y'all like it better this way? I bought a little stand to hold the camera, so I'm not always, when I start laughing or something, it's the camera's shaking all around and stuff. Do y'all like it better like that with this angle, or do you want me to go back to having it a little closer and stuff? Let me know.
Story a little bit of a break, so that the last couple of parts could have some time to digest inside Cell's stomach. Okay, kidding. Okay, that was a little too far. Sorry. In just two parts, we established the status quo of Gine's worries for the future, her place in the Dragon Team, her then reluctance to change, and then at the same time, well,
almost there.
Android 16 getting what he oh so wanted before he had even gotten out of the front door of Jiro's lab. You know, he actually accomplished quite a lot. All of this happened due to the fact that Gine's tush got in the way of a Saiyan pod door all those years ago that was meant just for her son, Kakarot. That's right. Today, we are going back.
Yeah, to be honest, I really wish that would have happened with this. It would have made things a lot more interesting. It would have been really cool. That's why I love these what ifs so much, because a lot of them, it would basically my mind is wired towards, if I like a show so much, then I read the fanfics and stuff, and that's kind of like going at fanfics wise, and I love this.
Back to the story of the motherly character that we really didn't get to see enough of back in the day because we didn't know she existed. We saw none of her back in the day.
Yep.
It was only recently that we even discovered her identity and that she was even a thing after decades of not knowing.
Right?
Today, we are asking, what might have happened had Goku's mother, Gine, gone with her son to Earth? Well, for a starter, he wouldn't be called Goku. Now, when it came to space inside that Saiyan pod, I bet they could have done with a bit more of that. Like this duffel bag from today's sponsor, The Ridge. The weatherproof duffel is like what it says. Ready for any kind of weather, thanks to its waterproof PVC tarpaulin shell. I used this bag for a 4-day anime convention, you know, Sayacon, instead of a traditional bulky suitcase that I tend to use regularly, and this did the job fantastically. I was really surprised with the amount of space I had. With a handy shoulder strap, laptop compartment, and even the ability to work with your own battery packs with its own power bank pocket and, look, external USB port. And you know what really sealed the deal for me? It was even able to carry my tripod on the outside thanks to these little slings here. I'm in love with this bag. Are you interested in this bag and the other products that I've showcased? Then you can get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and returns by going to ridge.com/Masako. That's ridge.com/Masako. And actually just then put the code Masako in at checkout to get your 10% off. So check out the details again in the description below. Thank you. In the last part of What If Gine Went with Goku to Earth, the situation wasn't good for Gine, as she was in massive danger of being drunk by the likes of Imperfect Cell, after being bamboozled by his strange key, which had a really bizarre mix of everybody that she knew. She couldn't actually quite place it. Had it not been for her son, Freedom Fighter Raditz, jumping in with his own instant transmission thanks to his time on Yardrat, she actually might have been absorbed, and Cell would have had an extra dollop of Saiyan DNA to feast on. At the same time, our heroes were actually pretty fortunate in being able to get to Jiro's lab without having to rush after the Doctor. However, things were made all the more complex when Kakarot decided to be a little bit extra helpful in his own way and point out this strange pod that the gang had forgotten to take. They had already disconnected 17 and 18, loaded it up, and were going to take it to Capture Corp for safety. But instead, it activated the pod that they hadn't touched that contained Android 16, whom promptly decided to rugby tackle Goku out of the opening in the lab. And as that's going on, Raditz and Gine have entered the Room of Spirit and Time to try and get Gine back up to speed, as well as Raditz having the chance to train with his mother, just the two of them for the first time. Kakarot, though, wasn't having that great a time. Having been set upon by Android 16, he and the giant red-haired robot are hurtling towards the trees below, with Kakarot not at 100% yet, thanks to his key still being out of sorts after having to deal with the after effects of the heart virus. Because of Gine's nagging, he was able to take it slightly earlier, staving off a full-blown attack, but he wasn't back to peak fitness yet. This was not good against a machine that was quite clearly not in the mood to compromise. He had one thing on his mind, and that was to fight Kakarot until he had been subdued. What's even more confusing right now is that he can no longer sense Raditz and Gine. They actually went into the Room of Spirit and Time, so it just cuts you off entirely. Had whatever harmed their mother earlier taken his brother too? That was a concern, but not as much of a concern as this big red-haired lummox before him. I think that takes priority right now. With all the strength that he can muster, Kakarot just about spins the pair of them around with seconds to spare as they crash into the forest undergrowth below, 16 taking the brunt of the fall damage, and Goku has enough time to just get into his stance, jumping off, and is ready to fight. You know, he actually has the advantage almost. Thinking that 16 may be damaged by the plummet, Kakarot feels confident enough to try and turn into Super Saiyan again, despite him being uncertain whether he could actually hold it. Surely 16 won't take long to finish off, right? Wrong. 16 simply comes to and gets up as if nothing had happened. You know, 500-foot drop, nothing.
Kakarot, enemy of the Red Ribbon Army. It is time for you to pay for the heinous act that you committed against our organization.
That is cool! How... obviously he has the tech to do that, but that's still cool.
Kakarot is confused as to what he did, but then remembers his dealings with the likes of Commander Red back in his childhood, as well as his company, his army, when he was a boy.
Huh. You don't look like Commander Red. Well, I mean, your hair does, but not the other stuff. You're way taller.
I am not Commander Red. I am the being designated as Android 16. You are Kakarot, and I am charged to end you.
Kakarot is still in his stance, and then the two of them fight for a brief moment, with 16 having the advantage thanks to, again, Kakarot slowly recovering power. At one point, Kakarot does think that he's managed to outrun the Hulk because, you know, he's way smaller, but he is then struck square in the jaw by a flying rocket punch, and is then hurled to the ground as the rocket arm then wheels around like a homing device, loops in the air, and is now aiming straight for Kakarot's torso. And connects, creating a massive crater.
Wasn't that cool, though, when you used that against Cell? That was pretty cool.
Crater within the forest. Kakarot is majorly winded and cannot get up. 16 walks up to Kakarot and collects his arm that's just on the ground next to him before disconnecting his other one, readying his ultimate attack. And you know what that is.
Yeah, the
16 looks down at Kakarot without a single emotion flickering across his robotic face.
Correction, his ultimate attack is the nuclear bomb embedded in his chest. But that's the suicide attack. Bro.
Flickering across his robotic face.
You fought well, Kakarot, but your victory back then was ultimately worthless. The Red Ribbon Army shall prevail.
Kakarot closes his eyes in readiness.
That's cool.
never happens. A sword finds...
I wonder, even with the tech, how they did that, because you'd have to get... it would take forever to get to the right pitch and stuff. That's cool. I like how they did that.
finds itself embedded in the torso of 16, causing his whole body to temporarily convulse, and they drop the arm attachments at the same time.
Wait, what? Sorry. I seem to have missed a part.
You fought well, Kakarot, but your victory back then was ultimately worthless. The Red Ribbon Army shall prevail!
Kakarot
Shall it?
closes his eyes in readiness, but the attack never happens. A sword finds itself embedded in the torso of
Trunks!
16, causing his whole body to temporarily convulse, and they drop the arm attachments at the same time. Trunks was able to jump in just in the nick of time, thanks to the crater creating a visible sign about where they are right now within the forest. And what didn't help was Kakarot's energy was hard to read thanks to it being not fully recovered, so that made it extra difficult. Trunks then grabs Kakarot's limp body, and they manage to fly away, with Kakarot just flying just limply. All of this while 16's circuits start to realign and he gets his bearings. By the time 16 has been able to stabilize himself, Trunks and Kakarot are gone. 16 does not get angry though, nor does he give up. He simply just starts to scan the area and start the search anew, as in the original, with Bulma and Vegeta transporting the two android pods back to Capsule Corps, with now Trunks and Kakarot catching up with them. Back in the Room of Spirit and Time, Gine and Raditz are completely unaware of the jeopardy that their friends and family are in at present, but they are certainly dealing with a lot of personal reflection and clarity at the moment. From the first moment that they went in, Gine was adamant that she was not going to change her mind about anything, especially regarding fighting with the others at the front line. She had wished to shrink back into the background and live out the rest of her life in peace, as
But
she knew
sometimes you have
she
to
was
give
just so
up
close to-
what you want to help others for the better good and stuff. I understand that completely. That's why I have to do these videos in the middle of the night. My 89-year-old grandmother with dementia, I take care of her full time. So obviously I'm losing sleep and gonna have to get up in a little bit and wake her up and fix her breakfast and everything, but that's fine because I do this for y'all. So I appreciate the positive feedback and stuff. And I guess the negative criticism. It helps me make the channel better, but yeah, just thank you.
to having that once more. Raditz is not like his younger brother though, all simpering and whingy like a spoilt brat. He is adamant too, and unwilling to bend to his mother's will when it comes to Saiyan pride. Have you forgotten what it means to be a Saiyan, Mother? You can't give up! We Saiyans are the absolute pinnacle of strength in this galaxy! Why squander that potential? Gine had shed more than her fair share of tears throughout all of this discussion, but it all comes to a head when she finally says, I am not like you, son. I may have been once, but not anymore. Listen to yourself. Raditz recoils. This is the first time that his mother's actually pushed back this forcefully. All you're doing right now is spouting Frieza's garbage. All this talk of strength, identity, and dominating galaxies? That's just what Frieza said. Don't you realize that? You're becoming everything you ever hated. We were all his playthings. Don't you know that? Channeling his own force through us, making us feel special? Well, we're not. I've seen what it's like to live outside of that bubble, and it is something wonderful. Yes, I'm a Saiyan, but I'm also an Earthling. I will not fight for the Saiyans, nor their pride, nor for Frieza's trash. I will not fight for the Saiyans, nor for Frieza's trash. I will fight for Earth. That's all you have to
I could
realize,
see that
son.
coming.
And until you can understand that, I will not train with you anymore. Gine then just slinks back to the living quarters of the room and promptly ignores Raditz. Raditz is left stunned. What was she going on about? He didn't get it. Sure, he'd managed to experience freedom and independence from the Frieza Force, but his mind was still hardwired in thinking that the Saiyans were the best, no matter what. Something that Frieza was able to capitalize on way back in the day. He is stewing on this thought for many days, until the time comes when he just walks up to his mother and hugs her. You're right, Mother. We fight for Earth. We fight for everyone out there. Gine looks up and just smiles at her son, having finally been able to understand why she had been so resistant to fighting just purely for Saiyan pride. It wasn't just about living a life of peace, in ignorance, like being blind to what's out there. She just wanted to live her life as an Earthling, not as a Saiyan who just so happened to live on Earth.
Exactly.
With that, Gine starts to throw herself into the training once more, quickly regaining her stride and filling her son with admiration. And while that's going on, Kami is anxiously watching from afar Cell's continued absorption of all life on Earth. He knows that Raditz and Gine should be strong enough to deal with this menace when they come out, but still, right now, more lives are going to be drunk that needn't have been had Kami just heated his gut earlier, Now, speaking of Cell, he has now started to make his way to his biggest find, his biggest gem, something he'd been lusting for, North City. North City is one of the largest towns that he clapped his eyes on and sensed. He was ready to drink all of the hundreds of thousands of people that were dwelling in that city. Maybe they would actually come close, this whole collective, to the buffet that he had whilst drinking Gine earlier. Since then, he had a real surge in his power. He felt great, he felt fantastic. But then, he spots something in the distance just standing there. It's a tall being who is looking in the sky before looking down right at it.
Oh, no,
16
no. I see where this is going. Teaming up with 16, convincing 16 that it is the best interest to kill Goku by letting him absorb Android 17 and 18. Oh god. They had to go there.
The hundreds of thousands of people that were dwelling in that city. Maybe they would actually come close, this whole collective, to the buffet that he had whilst drinking Gine earlier. Since then, he had a real surge in his power. He felt great, he felt fantastic. But then, he spots something in the distance just standing there. It's a tall being who is looking in the sky before looking down right at it. 16 has now spotted Cell, and the two of them are just staring at one another for what seems like an eternity. 16 then speaks.
Identify yourself.
Silence.
Identify yourself.
Silence again.
Identify.
16 is thrown onto the ground by a tail whip as Cell walks up to him.
You really don't recognize me, Android 16? Well, I recognize you as obsolete.
As that chestnut's being set up, Bulma and the others arrive at Capsule Corp with the two android pods being taken into her own laboratory and kept under lock and key. Trunks offers to guard the lab himself, but Bulma feels that there's no real need to worry right now. With Jiro gone and 16 seemingly not coming after them, not chasing them really, they have got some time to try and regroup and, more importantly, for Kakarot to recover properly away from any battlefields or any flashpoints. Vegeta is talking with Kakarot, trying to make sense as to why his mother decided to act like a coward.
As far as I'm concerned, she's a traitor to our core beliefs. We Saiyans are born strong and must show other worlds exactly what we're made of.
I don't know. Mom's been living here for longer than she lived on Vegeta, you know. Perhaps she doesn't view herself as a Saiyan anymore.
What? But she's the first ever Super Saiyan in living memory. How could she possibly renounce such power?
Kakarot looks at a nearby picture of he, Bulma, Grandpa Gohan, and his mother from not long after they first met. Bulma had taken that picture to preserve their first ever adventure together. He can see his mother's wistful and yet serene expression. It just seemed to speak to him right now. He gets up and looks at it more closely. He's starting to understand what Raditz is right now. From what he can see, Gine looked happy. She didn't come on the adventure with them both. She knew that she could have dominated Pilaf easily. She was just okay with being at home and just enjoying the world that she'd made for herself with Grandpa Gohan and her now family and friends.
She just wants
now back
peace.
to 16 and Cell, and the stare down intensifies.
I do not recognize you. For the last time, identify yourself, or else I shall have to...
What? Fire your rocket arms at me? Please. You're such a relic, 16, and also a terrible judge of character. I am your successor, the latest model of Dr. Giro. I am Cell, the Doctor's last and greatest creation.
16 is surprised.
Cell? The only cell that this model has on file is the prototype located in the sublab.
Yes, at least in this timeline. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a very urgent appointment with someone. Or some people in North City over there. So if you don't mind getting out of the way...
16 does not move. Cell is puzzled.
Didn't you hear me, you bag of bolts? Stand aside.
My scan of your being is now complete. Your DNA comprises 10.87% of Kakarot's DNA. These parameters are acceptable.
Yes, I know that's cheesy, but some of you mentioned that the last time I mentioned this kind of thing, I didn't mention it. So yeah, it's full of fan service, but come on. Their fight now begins, with it going for a very long time, since the pair of them are relatively equal. But 16 is slowly beginning to flag because of the earlier tussle that he'd had with Kakarot. He hadn't had time.
Okay, I feel stupid, but I can't remember. Was that line from the abridged or the original version? I think the original, but I can't be sure. Let me know.
Time to kind of recharge. Cell makes the most of this, and then promptly buries 16 in the dirt, immobilizing his legs with his tail, which he then rips off and regenerates another one. The original tail coils up and then seizes up, leaving 16 unable to get up.
It's been fun, 16, it really has. But I must not miss the chance for this unforgettable luncheon.
Cell turns to North City and flies away, leaving 16 struggling to break free. After a couple of hours, Cell's tail finally loses its energy store and it collapses limp, freeing 16 to get in pursuit of his target. Should he though? Cell is well into his consumption of North City, now stronger than ever, thanks to the added biomass of just a few thousand souls, nothing major. As he's about to try and see if he can drink 3 people at once, because he's bored, he is halted by what feels like a familiar energy. An energy that he can sense inside of himself. Something that he even supped earlier, a real delicacy, not that long ago. Gine and Raditz show up, looking serious and ready for a fight. Gine is looking particularly focused. They may not have been in there the whole day, but it was enough for Gine to discover a helpful power, and for Raditz to further refine his regular Super Saiyan. Your name is Cell, right? Shouts Gine. Yes, says Cell in a rather confused manner. This is an intervention. Cell, says Gine intensely.
You have a drinking problem! Ha ha ha! High five!
Chips in Raditz with Gine looking absolutely dumbfounded. I mean, even Cell does for a moment. It's time that I stepped up and fought for the world I love. And Gine promptly powers up and goes past Super Saiyan and on to another level. She ascends to Super Saiyan Grade 2. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you guys think?
Wait, is Super Saiyan Grade 2 that bulky ass Ultra Super Saiyan form, or is it actual Super Saiyan 2? Because normally I thought he just called it Super Saiyan 2, so I'm thinking so, but what do you think? Or, that transformation was called Super Saiyan 1.5, if I remember correctly. Never mind.
The level. She ascends to Super Saiyan Grade 2. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you guys think? Do you feel that this is the start of a brand new Gine? Will we hear Raditz chip in at least one more punchline in this scene? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going.
Okay, damn it.
And
now,
I shall see
I was
you
looking forward
in
to
the next
having
video.
the break from this, but
Catch you
now
later.
I'm actually just had to go and rope me back in. Now I'm looking forward to the next part. That's so cool, though. I thought Gohan was the first one to go Super Saiyan 2, but now Gine is. But the question is Gohan's form more powerful? We'll find out, I guess. Hope y'all are enjoying my reactions, and let me know anything you want me to change up with it or anything. And I'll probably be filling in the space until another episode of Gine comes out with other what-if reactions from different YouTubers to try to compare, basically, to Masako and stuff. So if y'all want to see that, let me know, and till next time, peace. I hope y'all enjoyed my reaction. If you like my content, then like and subscribe, please, and follow me on Twitter for video updates. The link will be in the description below. And as always, stay nuclear.